Magic 97.9, favorites of yesterday and today. Good morning. I'm JB Miller, guest DJ Friday, and I don't know, we thought it would be kind of cool to send my brother in for a guest DJ appearance. Welcome home, my friend.
Thank you, sir. It's been a long time since I've been called a DJ, but all right.
Been a long time since you played a record, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we should bring you over here. Maybe you could do like a half hour of just spinning the hits. What do you think? Is that a good idea?
You want me to do that?
Well, it's possible.
I got to tell you, I'm coming in this morning. This is inside radio stuff, but I'm coming in this morning, and I hear you hit the post, which, by the way, for folks that aren't in radio, means you stop talking just as the vocal starts on the record.
Yeah.
I heard you smack that post on that Fleetwood Mac record. I said, you know what? The kids still got it.
Proud of me. Yes, long-time broadcaster in Huntington, all through the 70s, known for so many things here in the Huntington area, and it all started at the A&P store.
Yes,
pretty much in Ironton.
Cutting meat.
Now, see, I was real young. There's a 10-year difference between you and I, and I was very, very young. I don't remember the meat cutting days, but
you're kidding, really?
No, but I certainly remember the radio days.
You see this
as a meat cutter, and you got laid off, right?
That thing on my thumb.
Yeah,
meat cutting. That's probably why I don't do it anymore. But yeah, I got laid off as a meat cutter, and I was working my way through college and. I didn't have anything to do, and the radio station up on the hill had a weekend shift available, so I went up there and read the newspaper into a tape recorder, and they hired me, and that's how it all got started.
Think about that, and from there, now all of these years later, you are still doing what you love to do, right?
And I still do. Absolutely. 40 years I've been doing this, so yeah.
Is that crazy? Do you think about that sometimes? 40 years of doing radio.
I think about the equipment changes and some of the things that we go through and things like that, and you're still running your own controls, and they don't let me do that anymore.
All right.
Yeah. I have an engineer that does that. She just stares at me across the thing.
One of the things that you probably got started, and now everybody does in the 70s when you were in this particular market, was you were famous for your phone calls. You remember when you used to do that?
Yeah, used to. Well, I just found goofy people, and I wish that I could think of. The one that everybody always brings up is Idi Amin, which I didn't. The dictator of Uganda, and I just did that as a lark. I thought, what if I tried to call this guy, and what if I actually got him? And I did. I got him, but he hung up on me. And but that made the paper, and I always wondered, why would it make the paper that I got hold of the guy and he hung up on me? But it did. It did. And I called I called the Eiffel Tower one time to get their recipe for French dressing. I had to get a local French teacher to come in and to translate for me, and they had no clue. They did the French still today, but even in those days had no sense of humor whatsoever. I got some chef on the air, and he eventually got mad because because he kept saying there is no such thing as French dressing. I said, sure it is. You can go down here to the Big Bear and buy it in a bottle. So I just want to know how you make it, and it didn't work out real well because he didn't know what Big Bear was.
Now, State Street was one of the more famous streets in Chicago as well, and you learned that they were tearing up State Street in Chicago, and I believe, as I remember, you hitched up a U-Haul, drove to Chicago, basically picked up a bunch of brick, and came back and sold them for charity.
We did. We sold, I don't know, a lot of them.
Right on this very street, as a matter of fact.
Yes,
right on Fifth Avenue, just down the road.
We did all that in a space of 48 hours. Drove to Chicago, picked up the bricks, slept overnight, came back down here. One of the funny things about that was, you don't mind if I do other call letters, do you?
No.
Okay. Remember WGNT, which is no longer WGNT, but that's where I spent a lot of my career. It had a mic flag that went up and down the microphone. It said WGNT, and I'm trying to interview people in Chicago, and no one will talk to me. Well, one of the big stations in Chicago is WGN, so I just put my hand over the T, and I got to interview all kinds of people. It worked out great.
That's great. And for those that remember the Huntington store, which now is the Marshall Hall of Fame Cafe, but for many years, many folks shopped at the Huntington store.
Yeah,
and in the window of the Huntington store once was Bob Miller, and I believe the sign said "Freezing Prices" and Bob Miller, and you sat on a block of ice.
They did sat me on a block of ice for 24 hours. Luckily, there was a piece of styrofoam between me and the ice, but it was still cold, and I don't know. I don't know who dreamed that promotion up. We did some strange things, back in the day, as everybody likes to say.
Reminiscing with Bob Miller, my older brother, all the way in from Portland, Oregon. And by the way, the reason he's here is not necessarily to be a guest DJ today, although I know that has always been your goal in life.
Oh, it has. It's been a dream of mine for a couple minutes.
We've conversed many times about that you would like to come in and be the guest DJ.
Oh, sure.
So this is the opportunity, but you're actually here, and I should point out the fact that tomorrow is a big day for you. You and 13 others in the West Virginia Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Right.
Tomorrow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know that is a great honor for you.
It is. This is home. I mean, I've been in Oregon for 30 years, but this is home. This is where this is where the journey began. This is the genesis of my career and yours.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, some of us left town and some of us stayed here, and God bless you. The Jack O'Sheas of the world and folks like that have hung here and have been such a big part of this market, which you've become, and I'm real proud of you.
Thank you. Very proud of you as well. And you get me all tear-eyed when you do that, so don't do that. That's not a good thing. I'll tell you a great story before we go to the break, too, and I don't know if you realize this or not. You're going to be shocked by this, but for those that don't know, of course, Bob left the market in 1979.
Right.
And I for the most part, replaced you.
Yeah.
And in 1977, you hired me as a part-timer.
Right.
And I'm very young. We were looking at pictures last night. We were just absolutely blown away.
Just a baby.
Yeah, I was a baby on the radio. And one of the first things you did for me in 1977 as a part-timer was you bought me a pair of headphones. Do you remember that? We ordered them from Sennheiser.
Yeah. I remember those foam things, yeah.
They came in a box. These are the headphones.
You're still wearing them?
I am still wearing the headphones that you bought me in 1977. How about that?
Good grief.
Now, the cord's been replaced.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The foam has been replaced, but these are still the original phones that you bought me in 77.
That is incredible.
How about that? We're back in a moment, 7:45 on Magic 97.9.